Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Season 4 of Conversations with DSLM. It is a pleasure to welcome Dr. Professor Deevanshu Shrivastava, a distinguished legal academician, researcher, author, and institution builder whose contributions to legal education have been widely recognized across the country. With over 13 years of experience in teaching, research, and academic leadership, Professor Srivastava currently serves as Professor of Law at the National University of Study and Research in Law, Ranchi. Over the course of his career, he has held several important academic leadership positions, including Associate Dean at GD Goenka University and Founding Dean of GL Bajaj Institute of Law. He was also the founding head of the Jagran School of Public Policy and International Affairs, the first dedicated school of public policy in central India. A scholar of intellectual property and business laws, Professor Srivastava has authored and edited several books, published more than 40 research papers in reputed journals, and contributed extensively to public discourse through articles in leading publications such as The Hindu, ThePrint, Deccan Herald, and The Sunday Guardian. His contributions have earned him numerous honors, including the Emerging Law Teacher of the Year Award 2025, the Excellence in Legal Teaching Award 2025, and the BW40 Under 40 Legal Awards 2024. Today, we look forward to drawing upon his rich experience and insights on legal education, judiciary preparation, legal research, public policy, emerging technologies, and the future of the legal profession. Sir, we are honored to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Ritu, for having me. And I guess of what all you have mentioned in my introduction, the questions, the answers, I'll be very honest, those are just things that have people achieve. But I guess a teacher by heart is a teacher by thing. So I guess that is perfectly would sum up in just one line. But thank you so much for that generous introduction. And let us take this ahead.
Thank you, sir. To start with, so what initially motivated you to pursue law? And looking back today, was there a defining moment that convinced you that legal academia would be your calling?
So I'll be very honest, and I have been saying this, I guess, in all my classes. So I come from a family of lawyers, to be precise enough, the fifth generation. And on a very lighter note, as I've been describing myself, so my blood group is LLB positive and not merely B positive. So, and what I believe today, law is not merely a profession. It's an instrument of social engineering and justice.
Mm.
So even during the my college days, I've fallen in love with intellectual property rights way too early in my career, and I guess I continued that. So the defining moment that convinced me that academia was calling came during my early teaching assignments. Both at Barkatullah University and the National Law Institute University Bhopal during my post-graduation days. And then I realized that I derived immense satisfaction from mentoring students, conducting research, and contributing towards the development of legal education. So that was the moment to take that step. And then it multiplied by impact. So impact of years, not by arguing a single case, but by shaping hundreds of future lawyers, judges, and the policymakers. So it's always said that I don't dream because I have so many dreams to inbuilt and to see them fulfilling as well.
Right. And if you were starting your legal career again in 2026, would you choose academia, litigation, judiciary, corporate law, public policy? Why?
I would repeatedly in my life entire career I would take up academia, and I'll be very honest. Each day I take up academia, be it so it's ever teaching on new subjects, taking up new projects, bringing students or to write, make them write with the research side. So I guess for me it's on a repeat, on a loop, for academia, 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 and that exactly is the answer of not taking one step, but one particular thing where each day is a fresh day. And believe me, it's not merely about the preparations, because the moment I enter the classroom, the amount of questions, the amount of doubts, the amount of queries that comes up
Mhm.
is way too ahead of what I can even presume and prepare. And that is exactly what I say to my students: never presume, just be
Mm.
prepared. And I guess that practice of preparation is the key to the source of all the problems that they have.
So, speaking of students, many law students feel that law colleges focus heavily on theory, but not enough on practical skills. Do you agree that there is a disconnect between legal education and legal practice in India?
I guess this question is something which has always been brought onto, but to a considerable extent, I would disconnect with this particular problem. I don't see it, as I said in my previous answer as well, that the the section remains the same, but the implementation of that particular section, the execution of that particular section is always different. We do have precedents, but to
Hmm.
what extent the precedents do carry up? So India has traditionally been an exam oriented rather than practice oriented, when specifically I'm talking about the education system. But
Yes.
one beauty of, I guess, there are only two subjects which I have seen in my very short career. One is law, and the second is medicals. So you'll always
Hmm.
see, and why I say this, because each of these is always, and the profession always demands practice. You'll always be hearing that a
Hmm.
doctor is practicing for so many years, a lawyer is practicing for so many years.
Hmm.
And somebody on a very, like my friends not from the legal area, they have always asked me, do you people still always practice? You never become a practice makes a man perfect. And that's
Hmm.
exactly the answer. Each case brings towards of what a practical side is. And specifically when I talk about the legal education, be it so whether it's a 5 year course or a 3 year course, you'll always find new challenges, new questions, and I'll give you a small example. Today in the classroom, when we discuss even a small subject like torts, and they bring
Hmm.
across, sir, whether this a particular statement made by the Honorable Chief Justice representing one insect about the youth, do you feel it's a defamation? And then I bring them back to the classroom. So, how can that not be a practically oriented subject where the principles are there and the application itself remains an absolute new answer every time?
Hmm. Right, sir. But do you think law schools are producing graduates who are employable or merely degree holders? Should internships be made mandatory every semester?
Uh, I do come from a area where I have always seen internship as a mandatory. So where I'll be very honest, the Bar Council of India, the authority that manages the legal education, through the legal education rules 2008, and time and again the directives that have been coming on to have mandated internships at the end of each year.
Yeah.
Uh, Fortunately, at my place presently, the National Law University, Ranchi, we do feel that yes, the applicability, the practicability do comes into place. I am a strong support of structured internship, and again, I'm raising a terminology
Hmm.
structured every semester. However, these internships can be of multifaceted things. For example, the research component can also be added as a
Hmm.
practical research. Because until unless it's a lawyer who's not only then arguing skills, but also how the research happens. So if we can have a combination, and that's the terminology where I use a structured internship mechanism,
Hmm.
where practical side of researching, whether it can be legal databases, new time, whether how AI can be inbuilt, but again, that
Yeah.
needs to be a monitored AI in the research. So internship should not be mere an attendance exercise or a certificate exercise. They should have, I feel, four basic pillars: defined learning objectives, assessment
Hmm.
mechanisms, reflective reports, that's for the research and the practical side of that, and last but not the least, the faculty supervision.
Right.
Experiential learning is indispensable in the legal education. And I've always been
Hmm.
saying, and we have been doing this, that it's not merely the students will go on internship. The faculty should also see the possibilities of internship. They should be
Hmm.
very clear to tell them, mentor the students, that what all, like for example, the new branches like PMT coming into place, ESG coming into place,
Yes.
which is not taught at law school. But that's how
Hmm.
the practical learning or the classroom learning can expand to its practical world as well, Ritu.
Right, sir. Rightly pointed out. Structured internship, you're right. Should every law school have a compulsory course on how to build a legal practice covering client acquisition, chamber management, networking, billing, office administration, ethics, and professional development?
Okay, so I would answer this question in two parts. The first would be a positive part, which I say, as I mentioned about the Legal Education Rules 2008, the four of the clinical compulsory papers which is there, one of it is professional ethics. So that's how we'll be
Hmm.
coming on to. Now, coming
Okay.
to client management is something which a lawyer or a corporate lawyer, or for that matter, any person in a legal domain or a legal practice should be taking on to, excluding judges. That's what I personally feel.
Hmm.
Now, when the other two that you talked about, like for example, the chamber administration, the office management, now here is a catch. The catch, which I'm trying to tell you, that at one point I'm trying to build a wonderful lawyer, a lawyer of tomorrow, with the likes of the Ramjit Malanis, with the like of the Kapil Sibbals, with the like of
Hmm.
Salman Khurshid's, or the top-notch lawyers, and that's where the power comes into play. And that's also we are letting them know that it is your time to hire people to manage your
Hmm.
office things. And today, when we see there are softwares, there are many such new technological advancements that helps
Hmm.
you to tackle. The case diary gets maintained, you get timely reminders are there, the financial literacy, the entrepreneurship side of the law legal profession, and the office management and other things. So you need to be smart enough, you need to be at pace with the technological advancement that makes your life easy. So, yes, I
Right.
do agree where compulsory papers of professional ethics, of how the client management, the lawyer's ethics, and other things comes into place. Plus, the office administrations and other things, I guess, you also get a power to hire people who are good at these managements and other such things. And
Hmm.
you only need to focus on your practice side. So I would personally think that many brilliant lawyers struggle not because they lack legal knowledge, but because they lack professional management skills.
Yeah. Right, sir. So, today thousands of law students enroll in private judiciary coaching institutes. Why are students compelled to seek external coachings when they have already spent years studying in law school? Uh, what, in your opinion, are the major differences between the way law is taught in universities and the way it is tested in judicial services examination?
Okay, I guess pertinent question, Ritu. And again, this is one question which many parents in the past few years have compelled me to answer them. And I'll tell you, we always see it from this side whether this institution is building up. Also, if I can divide, so it has always been said, and you can check the stats as well, that the state universities or the public universities for that matter are more inclined towards producing judges or advocates, while on the other hand, premium law schools, they are majorly inclined towards producing the corporate lawyers.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you where the difference lies. The difference lies between the students. As I tell you,
Mm.
the 5 year law course, which is spread across, I'm not coming to the 3 year law course right now, but if the
Mhm.
5 year law course is spread across, you'll find contracts as a subject to be very compulsory in the first years. Somewhere
Yes.
it can be the first semester, somewhere it can be the second semester, but that's a compulsory portion that we see on to. And why only
Yes.
judiciary, Ritu, for that matter? Even if I'll take a UPSC for an example, where law is
Mm.
an optional and all those subjects. Now, this also answers previous three questions of yours. Is law school competent? Why are we focusing towards bookish knowledge and not majorly on the practical knowledge? So when
Mm.
I see a 60 class students of classroom, I generally call them learners in my classroom. So
Mm.
if the student is very much clear that, okay, I have to take this particular thing. So right from the first years, if they are dedicated enough to study the some subjects with the principles that they're being. So law schools never teach the subjects. They teach you in the
Mm.
5 years how to study law. And I'll explain you this with a very small and a very relevant example. So when I was a law student, 2005 to 2010, I studied IPC. I
Mm.
studied CRPC, and I studied
Mm.
Companies Act 1956.
Mhm.
Now, what happens now in my classroom today? Um, the entire of the criminal law has been changed. So now
Yeah.
IPC is replaced by BNS, CRPC
Famous.
is replaced
Yeah.
by BNSS. And then when I was teaching corporate law, which I have done in a major part of my career, it came out with Companies Act 2013.
Yeah.
And then one fine day, a student questions me, Sir, at your time, you studied 1956 Act and you are teaching me
Yes.
2013. And this is where I give them an answer that the law school was not about teaching me a particular subject. They were
Mm,
teaching me how to study law and
mm,
that implementation of it. So I always believe, and I've seen myself, I've curated those students who during their 5 years, without any external thing, but they were so dedicated enough, whatever the classroom studies was, they said, we are not going to waste time. But again, we saw a recent trend or a recent change rather of compulsory 3 year practice being imposed on, and
mm.
that demanded the judiciary that there should be the students who must have a basics of the practicalities of
Yeah.
this particular domain before they enter into the judiciary. So at that particular time, they have to be in the courts. They have to produce their practice certificates in order to be eligible
Mm,
to write their judiciary exams. So I personally feel that it is the classroom study, how to study law, rather than how to study a particular law subject. So that is common whether and why only for the judiciary or the UPSC as we talked. There are specialized officers exam for IBPS, the bank
mm.
officers the law
Yeah.
officers as we talk on. There are PSUs exams for the legal managers. So
Mm,
the law school is not going to have or is not going to be a separate coaching institute where parallel things are being taken onto. Yes, they can take steps that in addition to what the classroom teaching is, evening classes can dedicatedly be or branched out to judiciary
mm.
preparations, UPSC preparations, higher education, foreign LLMs it also comes into place for that particular matter.
Yes.
And that is how they are being taken up.
Right, sir. And since you talked about, how we can emphasize on the judiciary teaching aspect, do you think law colleges should integrate judiciary-oriented teaching, answer writing practice, judgment analysis, and mock judicial examinations into their curriculum?
I guess again, putting it as a part of curriculum would be something that would be common to everybody. Now, today, if
Hmm.
I'll say, for example, I'm a student and I'm totally oriented myself towards corporate practice. There is a friend
Hmm.
of mine who has completely oriented himself to become the public prosecutor or a practicing examinations and other such things. So when you
Hmm.
put it something as a part of curriculum, it comes as a very
Hmm.
compulsory and an imposed thing coming onto. Rather, as I
Right.
said I answered in the previous question, the law universities have nowadays started off it. I can give you the example of National Law University Ranchi, where we do have after
Hmm.
the class hours, we have segmented it. That okay, the bunch
Okay.
of students who want or are preparing for their foreign LLMs as the
Hmm.
early as beginning of their 4th years, they should be very clear, and
Hmm.
their parallel training of how to write those SOPs, how to be shaping up, what branch to be taken up, is already being mentored and curated by the faculty members. Similarly, the banking law examinations, we have started a very short
Hmm.
3 months capsule post the classes, and it's free of cost. So whosoever is interested, we can create a cohort out of this particular thing, that how these students and which all students out of 60 are inclined towards what segment and what
Hmm.
support these universities can give on to. So that is how, why merely two. And I'll tell you a very short answer as well. Now, today, when I see or when I teach subjects like torts or contract, in the classroom exercise on one fine day, I'll say we have a quiz competition. And all the questions are either from the past 10 years of judicial papers or the past 10 years
Okay.
of the UPSC papers of that particular subject. So this not only helps them to understand a particular fact, but also make them ready towards the components. Okay, this is how the
Hmm.
question setup comes into. The essay writing technique is something that time and again, and I am very confidently telling you this, major law schools in the country are organizing essay competitions. And if you'll see the
Hmm.
essay competitions, these essays, and place it with the UPSC essay, which is compulsory as a part of their mains examination, this is exactly the same way of doing it.
Okay. So since you mentioned about LLM and LLM abroad, one of the biggest dilemmas for law students today is whether to pursue an LLM in India or abroad. So what factors should students consider before making that decision? And is pursuing LLM abroad always worth the significant financial investment, or can students achieve similar professional growth through a good Indian LLM program?
Ritu, I'll be very honest, you just reminded me of a couple of my 4th year students who approached
Mm,
me on saying this fact, sir. I'll take that decision of choosing the universities and my specialization later. You first tell me whether it is worth it, whether I'll be
Mm.
going for an year, spending now it's very costly if at all the
Mhm.
scholarships are not there. So you have 30, 35 in your kitty uh, for pursuing an year, and will it
Mm.
be worth it? Now, couple of factors that I have always been telling my students is that if you really want to practice towards the litigation side of it, the core litigation, I'm talking about the civil procedures or the criminal procedures, I guess going abroad, pursuing your LLM and coming back won't help you that much. I'm saying that much. I'm
Mm.
not negating the fact. Why? Because, okay, we should also see the purpose of these LLMs is the expansion of your horizons as well. Here, in your
Right.
5 years, you were in a particular area, you're a particular part of the country. The
Mm.
major competition, you feel yourself to be okay, I am a level up with all those students out there. I've maintained 8.5 or 8 CGPA and trying to take this up. And then
Mm.
comes the learning that you manage out in a foreign country. The best choices have always been the UK side of it or other side. But again, now, foreign LLMs do expand you where your specialization comes into place. It
Mm.
also, to answer it, that it would be beneficial to the students for the international exposure, as I was talking about, the comparative legal studies, global
Mm.
networking. And this is again when I'm saying, because India today is now
Yes.
becoming a hub for multinational companies coming into place. And
Mm.
lastly, the academic specializations. However, Indian LLMs are now equally rewarding, particularly for the students intending to pursue litigation, judiciary,
Yes.
or teaching for that matter. The
Mm.
decision should be guided by purpose and not by prestige. It should not become a matter, okay, I'm going and I'll be taking a foreign LLM coming back. Rather, what would be your purpose? And I have always posed this question back to them, because believe me, it is not about my decision where the student should take it up. It should be their decision always. They should be the decision makers. And what is the purpose? Where you see yourself after 2 years, 1 year of your LLM
Right.
and post 1 year of your LLM, where you see yourself. And if the answers is the court, the district court, or for example, the high court, I said,
Yeah.
you yourself have decided me an answer. And then you say, no, I see myself in a multinational company where I can serve the
Mm.
purpose. I can be a bridge of UK and India and something like that. I guess you have
Mm.
answered the question for me. So the decision making power should not be coming from my, like Devanshu sir is saying that's why I should do it. No,
Mm.
the answer should be like, if Ritu is asking me the question, the answer should also come from Ritu
Mhm.
herself,
Yeah.
because that's how she'll be taking, and you're equipping your student to make those
Mm.
decisions for themselves.
Right, sir. And many students pursue LLM immediately after graduation. So, do you think gaining practical experience before pursuing postgraduate studies is better approach?
Uh, I'll again borrow the answer from where I said these all decisions should be guided by purpose
Mhm.
and not prestige. So if, as I said, if I'll tell you a very small thing which I've recently learned in the state of Jharkhand. So Jharkhand being one of those prominent states, and I've not seen this thing even in the developed states like Delhi, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, or for that matter even
Mm.
Uttar Pradesh, the government has come out with a scheme. The scheme is that the students, their masters would entirely be
Mm.
done by the state government. The state government is providing 100% scholarship. Till the
Oh.
last time, and the change that they have brought this year is only one. Okay, that is basically for the tribal students, the students of who cannot afford
Ah,
economic things
yes.
for the state of Jharkhand. But it comes with a catch that it is now required that the person needs to have a 2 year post qualification experience, and then only
Okay.
they can apply. So my only thing that comes that when and how. I've always been saying this too. Like if I have spent 2 years, and I'll give you my example. If I have spent 2 years of my life into litigation, believe me, third year onwards, I'll not even think of judiciary or any other thing. Rather than I'll say I have put a total of 2 packs of 365 days into litigation. So this is my dream, and I'm going to continue with that. So I've always been saying this to my students: the decision should not be of this
Yes.
year. As I say, if a first year student take
Mm.
admission in law in 2026, I would always answer them, please keep in mind 2031, the year you are going to graduate.
Right.
And that is the answer that we should all plan forward. And what might suit Ritu might not suit Devanshu. Or vice
Mm.
versa, what might suit Devanshu might not suit Ritu. The situations and who is the best decision maker in these all particular things? The candidate himself or herself. So,
Right, sir.
qualification, with experience, then I want to go to pursue my LLM. It's up to you. I have seen people in my life who have settled themselves. They have become
Mm.
partners in a record time. And then they took a 2 years or a 3 years time to go pursue their masters
Mm.
in LLM. 1 year, they completed their executive MBAs from the likes of IMs and ISBs. And they
Mm.
again came back with I will say the version 2 of themselves. And that's how they are being taken up to.
Right, sir. So today, if a student wants to build a career in academia and research, what should they prioritize? An LLM from a top Indian institution, an LLM abroad, or early enrollment into a PhD program? What advice would you give to students who aspire to become law professors?
Okay, so I generally have been advising of what I have practiced in my life. So I give you one example of my own self. So I did my graduation immediately. So I started in 2005. So I'll take a bit back. So I completed my 10th, 12th immediately, no gaps. The month I completed my 12th, I decided to go towards law. So
Mm.
without even wasting a single day, I took the admission. So that's how the conditions were. I completed my graduation in 2010 July. 2010 only, I got myself for my LLM program for 2 years at that particular time. 2012, I was on the verge. I have not completed my LLM yet, and I was having the UGC net with me. So I got my
Mhm.
net certification first and my LLM degree later. So
Okay.
that gave me an open gateway that I can enter the academia immediately, and I did that.
Mm.
The moment I completed in July, August onwards, I started teaching. Um, that's how the
Mm.
component went on to. The moment I started teaching the same September, so August I started teaching, September I enrolled myself for PhD. What I've always been saying and doing is don't waste time in between. The decision
Mm.
should be thought an year prior. Contemplate, put everything into perspective, and decide for your own self. So,
Mm.
aspiring to become or entering into profession of academia, one should prioritize the strong legal fundamentals, the research aptitude, the most important, if I'm having a research aptitude, it's not merely having it, but demonstrated by writing and publication skills, the
Mm.
teaching ability. And last but not the least is the interdisciplinarity of what you're teaching. So it's not like I'm a law teacher, I shouldn't be seeing it from the sociological angle, economical angle, political
Mm.
science angle, nowadays management angle, but
Mm.
anything. So today, when I take a newspaper in my hand, I do have this habit again. I see it from the legal lens, and I'll be very precise. I see it from the IPR lens. That what is an IP news out here, and
Oh.
that makes me relevant to the field. I got an
Yeah.
example, and then the classroom when I go on to, I cite that particular example. That makes me relevant.
Mm.
That makes me contemporary, and that is how
Mm.
the relation, the matching skills that have to possess as a teacher,
Yeah.
because I can't cite them something specifically this present
Yes.
generation who has everything on their fingertips, be it in the
Yes.
form of reels that they are grasping it up, but they are grasping it. And just to
Yes.
be on that particular point, they have to be. So pursuing an Indian LLM, foreign LLM, whatever it is, if you're decided to go into academia, don't decide it today and then start planning over it. Decide it when you are in your final years and then start already do. I'll give you best example is CLAT PG.
Mm.
Now CLAT PG is happening in December's.
Yes.
Generally a time where the student himself or herself is in the ninth semester.
Mm.
So you get a 6 months time with your results, contemplate over yourself whether I want to take an LLM and I want to enter into practice or profession or teaching. So this gives you time of 6 months. And I say that's a very valid time given decision taken by CLAT. Both. It was earlier brought so that the result should not coincide, 12th and everything,
Right.
and then the student should not have time. but to have those things, contemplate and take those decisions.
Right, sir. You have held the you had the unique opportunity to establish institutions and academic programs from the ground up. What are the biggest challenges involved in building a law school or a new academic department from scratch?
Okay. So again, as I say, a law school is not merely a building that we see on. It's all about the environment that we have. I've been
Mm,
saying this that I've seen the best of the judges coming out from very small colleges which even lack the basic infrastructure. I have
mm,
seen the UPSC aspirants coming from the same place. While on the other hand, I've seen premier law schools, air conditions, teaching on tabs, learning on tabs, and everything. And I'll say, yes, from there also, I've seen some good uh, administrative officers, some good judges, some good lawyers coming up to. So, but the major challenge that I feel today is the designing a future oriented curriculum. So, as I said in one of the
okay.
answers that you asked me, it's not about today that I'm seeing. So, it's not like if I'm starting a law
Mm,
school or if I'm teaching or I'm curating a syllabi for a batch, I should be focusing on, okay, let me do this year and then I'll get. I'll, through
right.
you, I'm just giving you a couple of things. There is a very beautiful story we study it in the part of jurisprudence called as Allegory of Rex by Lon Fuller. And it's you just type it on Google, it's hardly a 2.5 page story. You'll find the PDF of it. 2.5 page, not much. I know I
Okay.
can't ask you people to read things across, but I'll be very honest. Books are something that I've been reading. Presently I'm reading one of these particular things, which is the compilation, and
Oh,
the title is
yes.
"Why the Constitution Matters" by
Mm,
Justice D.Y.
exactly.
Chandrachud, and it's a collection of his speeches. You'll find me, I've underlined it with pencil that why and what all these segments are being, I've utilized them in the classrooms as well. So this allegory of Rex is basically upon the mistakes a new prince who was recently been inducted as a king has made. And if you read and have those 8 mistakes with you
Mm,
throughout your legal career, you are going to be successful. Uh, Also, there is a very important book called as Learning the Law. And I've made it mandate to all my first years, mandatedly, that you'll have to read this. You'll have to read this so that you understand which profession you are entering onto. The basics are very simple, the basics are very clear. So, again, future oriented curriculums of how the
mm,
duration, and I should see the end point. I'll just say it is you need to be an athlete. So, when an
mm,
athlete starts off the race, his eyes are not on the starting point. His aim,
mm,
his goal is always the end point, that ribbon that he needs to cross and break before somebody else breaks it for him or her.
mm,
Second, the culture, the environment of that academic institution needs to be built. And it is not going to be built in a day. You need to address the
mm,
cohort of 60, divide them according to their own interests. And these interests, many a times as teachers, we need to develop those interests to our students.
mm,
Third, very important thing is the industry connections. You rightly mentioned in your second or third question, if I remember, the value of internships. So
right.
this network, I've like in my present institution, each of the first years are mandated to have, I don't care whether they have an Insta or a Snapchat account, but it's mandated for them to have a LinkedIn account. And
Right.
that is what needs is very important for this particular time. And last is the sustainability. As I said, the great law
Mm,
school is built not only by the infrastructure, but by the people, vision, and values. The PVP, as I generally been saying again and again. And this is where we consider the faculty and students common. So I never say the vision would only be built by me. The vision
mm,
would always be built till the time I'm working for my stakeholders and their
right.
vision, because this generation is something, because again what we are providing is for them. And you'll see a restaurant telling me it has menu card with ABC, a la carte, and everything available, but
Mm,
you only deliver what is asked for. And who asks us? The customers. So similarly, for a law school, the stakeholders, that's my dear students, my learners, they come into play. I call them the young legal minds. The values is something we, as the elders, as the faculty members, can inbuilt. And the vision is together that we see, both of us, the end point for our race here.
Sir, having established a school of public policy and worked on public policy related initiatives, do you believe law students should actively explore careers in public policy alongside traditional legal professions?
While Ritu, yes, I would say a definite yes. Again, the answer is that during my recent times as well, we do have. So presently, we have a Think India Center, which is core and dedicatedly working. So this is the Think India Nusral chapter, a part of Think India Jagran chapter that we see. We do have a policy oriented. Not only that, past the students have been very well taken up for the LAM fellowships. Each of the big fours today, when they are working with the government side, the young professionals program that is coming with various ministries, both central and the state governments, public policy is going to be one emerging domain that needs to be
Hmm.
taken up. Not only that, I have even advised my students who had the inclination towards the policy side of it to pursue the MPP course rather than going for an LLM course, and that
Okay.
has become a changing point in their times. So many of them are working with prominent think tanks, international organizations like the bodies of the United Nations that we see, Amnesty International, the international NGOs, and so on and so forth. Regulatory bodies, definitely, that how the shaping up, how the research and all those political wings. Not only that, and again, today when we see public policy, we just see it from a very tip of its iceberg. It is
Hmm.
not. It is a big, big, big iceberg that can lead to many Titanics to fall down. And that is the power of public policy today. You name any scheme which the government is launching,
Yeah.
any government, you name any development work that is being taken on to, you'll find the core of it to be public policy.
Hmm.
And another segment, which I guess, because this generation generally asks me this question, and I'll be very honestly asking you this. So, can you please guide me a career opportunity that has a lot of money? And my first answer to them, do you feel that if I would have an answer to that, I would have been teaching and I will not be doing that particular point? On a very lighter note on that point. But again, policy consulting is something which is going to be emerging. It's going to bring across that how this developmental feature is coming up to. And believe me when I say this, the talk of New India and the closely associated twin sister of law is public policy, which is not merely like I do not want to go to the courts because I've seen people, sir, the courts, sir, we went for internships, sir, did not get that vibe in the court. I do not know what vibe they were looking for,
Hmm.
but they felt that, sir, it was overcrowded, sir, and all those type of things that I've been hearing on. I guess public policy is something for them to decide, to work, and to take it on a very, very important perspective as well.
Right. Also, sir, your work spans areas such as drone law, cyber law, artificial intelligence, and digital transformation. Which emerging area of law do you believe offers the greatest opportunities for today's law students?
I would say, and start with, as I said, the first love of mine, intellectual property rights.
Mm,
Now, as might be, we be seeing that we have the likes of Copyright Act of the 1957s, the Patents Act, the 1970, the trademark from 1999, and we are living in 2026. But that's how the emerging time is about IP protection. So,
mm,
not only that, the amount of how the cyber space is expanding in itself, both in the criminal side of it, the offenses and other such things. So, cyber laws again, data protection again. How can I deny
mm,
the event of data protection for that matter? That how privacy, data management, data protection comes into place, uh, and anything and everything which is there. So, if it is a policy initiative brought by the government in form of ESG, a recent initiative brought under the SEBI's guidelines to take it up,
mm,
how the government is bringing it up, okay, this becomes, and who is the first person in the minds of the people? It's the lawyers. So, as I
mm,
said, and as I said to you, that when I graduated, I had IPR and I was thinking that I have taken the most advanced specialization from what my friends of constitution, administrative,
mm,
criminal law, international law took on to. But it is not about. And today, when I see, and as a teacher as well, there is still a student inside me who is like,
Mm.
okay, this is a new thing and I can expose myself towards that. That's how public policy happened to me. So it was a curious kid inside me who wanted to learn what is this, and that led to establishment of a school, and that led to so
Mm.
many brilliant public policy professionals that the school produced.
Right.
Similarly, drone laws was one thing. Today, even this till date, we do not have an enacted drone laws. We are still being guided
Mm.
by a guideline process. DPDP was again one of those particular things, came in
Mm.
2023, took finally an implementation time still underway. And there are so many
Mm.
things together, and that is where I have always been seeing the linkage should be there. The closest link is my love, the intellectual property rights that has made me very clearly, help me rather to. And I'll quote here that somebody asked me what would be the clearer definition. I'm sorry that I'm posing my own question here in
Yeah.
this interview, but what is research? And the best answer till date, in spite of teaching research methodology, in spite of being a student of research methodology, is to know the unknown from the knowns. I'll
Mm.
repeat, what is research? Research is to know the unknown through knowns.
Mm.
So, whatever new branch which is emerging, which still would be an unknown branch to me, the known for me was IPR, and through that, I was made to enter that particular unknown zone of a particular branch, drone laws. I am also a certified arbitrator and a mediator. And now
Mm.
somebody asked me that, okay, how can you are an IPR person, arbitration? And then I told them, ki, who said that arbitration can only be a subject? I
Yes.
have been practicing arbitration in IP related matters, where I am now becoming a very, very chosen choice of the parties as well. Oh, this is a professor of IPR. Let us hire him as an
Mm.
arbitrator in our IPR disputes. And this is not only for me, this is for anybody and everybody who's listening this through your meme, that okay, if I am a person of company law, mergers and acquisition, and tomorrow if I want to
Mm.
become an arbitrator, I can say that I'm a merger and acquisition specialized arbitrator. And
Right.
these all points helps you too. So again, I'm getting to the unknowns through the knowns that I have. And that is exactly what helps me to take and brings
Mm.
me as well on a particular answer or a particular platform on each and every time that we take it up.
Mm. Right. So you're currently a professor at National University of Study and Research Law in Law, Ranchi. National law universities were originally envisioned as institutions that would strengthen the bar and the bench. Yet many NLU graduates prefer corporate law firms over litigation. Why do you think this trend exists?
Okay, so I'll be very honest to that answer. I've been um, one of those, uh, I'll not use, but okay, one of those species who has been a student at National University and presently teaching at National University. So I'll tell you, this is just a perception. Now, when I say not all the 60 in my classroom have opted for, in a national law school setup, have opted for the corporate thing. I
Okay.
can name the best of, as I said in my answers as well, I can name some of the best UPSC clearing people. I can name the best of lawyers. I can name the best of judges. The other day, and this is just a small story. So another day, I was listening to this that the Delhi University celebrated its 100th year or something for that. Alumni meet was taken up to. And for a
Mm.
matter of fact, the present, if I'm not mistakenly saying this, but nearly two-thirds of the present sitting justices from the sitting High Court judges are the products from Delhi University.
Okay.
Now, if we say this, that Delhi University has only produced judges, this would
Mm.
be unfair to the wonderful advocates like that of the Shri Arun Jaitley sir, or like that of many more today when I see in Delhi High Court or Supreme Court. It would not be a justice to them. So
Mm.
similarly, the law schools, yes, I would say the major thing is being taken on to. But at the end, the functioning of the law schools have always been to provide justice in whichever format it
Yeah.
is. Yes, under the vision of Madhav Menon sir, under the vision of Upendra Bakshi sirs, the likes of what was it was to be prepared onto. Today, the majority is going towards a particular segment. So that
Mm.
is not limiting that the teaching is not for that perspective.
Yes.
It is about making the candidates equipped, and then the choice should be there. And I've seen majors now, there is a new trend as well that people, after serving the corporate, they are taking a switch and they're
Uh-huh.
coming back to academia. They are coming even back to start their own law firms. And that's how the power of entrepreneurship also comes into play. So, yes, better starting salaries, organized career progression, and the
Mm.
professional infrastructure has been those key features that has made like this is a human
Yes.
mindset, specifically
Yes.
student mindset. What is much secure for me? And I guess
Right.
corporate structuring was a much secure thing for them. On
Yes.
the other hand, yes, litigation is, I would say, the king of everything. Because if you are successful in your, yes, I do agree, initial stages, it does requires something that there might be a very minimum that you may earn. But if
Yes.
those initial years you have learned, you have practiced, and you have settled yourself, I guess sky is the limit. And that is how the challenge before legal education is to make litigation more accessible and sustainable
Mm.
for the young lawyers. There has been so many demands that there should be a uniform rule of paying the interns. There should
Yes.
be a uniform rule of how a young lawyer should be kept. And these are what? These are the things that I said. Organized career progression in the corporate structure that attracts the students more. Okay, okay, this is
Yeah.
better. And that is exactly how we be think. And I guess this was also 10, 20 years back. Um, ask a traditional North Indian family, a father specifically, what you want for your son. The answer would have been a government job and not a private
Yeah.
job.
Yes.
And the reason everybody, though the life is settled, you get a pension, everything is very
Mm.
structured. I guess this is the same organized career progression that makes a student specifically, and do not blame them. I guess that's absolute their choice and their
Yeah.
decision to take that thing ahead.
Rightly said, sir. Coming back to your experience in IPR, you have extensively worked in IPR, cyber law, AI, and emerging technologies. How do you see artificial intelligence changing the future of legal practice over the next decade?
Okay, so my before I start my answer, the entire answer would be based upon this particular statement that I'm going to make.
Mm.
AI is merely a tool, and let us focus on this particular tool. Yes, it is going to
Mm.
transform. I'm not denying that particular thing. The reason why it is going to transform because the technology is getting transformed. Gone are
Mm.
those days where a typist was the most essential feature of a any law firm, any
Yes.
court, any such matters. And there were people, they were lying in these particular persons, shorthands, and people were doing shorthand
Yes.
courses for that matter. Gone are those days. Today, we find it that major of the drafts are being typed and then taken up to. So anything which saves our time. So AI will assist, and AI is something I urge, I request not only my younger generations, but everybody to be at par with it. We
Mm.
can't say this is a technology that is to be taken, this is a technology not to be taken. But
Mm.
AI will assist in legal research, it will assist in contract reviewing, the vetting of the documents, due diligence, document drafting, and vetting, as I said, compliance management, predictive
Mm.
analytics. I'm saying predictive. I'm not saying that this is what we
Mm.
need to take. Predictive to be prepared again.
Mm.
However, AI can never replace the essential human qualities like that of ethical judgment,
Yes.
strategic thinking, the most important, the emotional quotients, many and much important in litigations or in judicial decisions,
Judiciary. Yes.
advocacy, creativity, and empathy.
Mm.
So the future lawyers will work alongside the AI. I'll say use AI as a tool in your pocket. It should be there in your pocket always, not competing against it. So at no point it is going to replace anything and everything that we see. But yes, it would be a very, very vital tool that needs to be in our pockets, um, as and when I am ready to use it up.
Right, sir. And just to speaking, and since you mentioned that AI is just a tool, so in this age of AI-powered research tools, do you think legal writing, as you also mentioned, pele stenographers and all, so do you think legal writing will become easier, all, or will originality and critical thinking become even more important?
I would just put it at this point, as I said in my previous answer as well, that AI is never going to replace the originality and the critical
Mm,
thinking. Never. It can shape up the way of writing. Like, for example, the different modes of citations that is there. Like some
mm,
follows Blue Book, some more follows Oscola, some follows APA. So that comes in handy for replacing something or finding. Like today, I'll tell you,
mm,
if I give you a dictionary and I say, okay, give me five synonyms to this particular thing, and for that matter, a thesaurus being used for that matter,
mm,
rather than at the time of my typing, there is a co-pilot assisting me who's saying you can use a better word for that particular matter.
mm,
And this saves my time. And as I said, anything that saves time for me is
mm,
something that is going to make my life easier. But at no point AI is going to replace
mm,
or can ever be a replacement of originality. You're talking to an IP student who
mm.
wants originality in all of its component, a
Yes,
basic fan of copyright, that
yes.
it's something that can be drawn, that can be thing, and needs to be original. And second is about the critical thinking. So AI can't help me to critically think on that point. Yes, it can provide, as I said, predictive thinking can be
Inputs.
there. But when it comes to critical thinking, no, critical reasoning for that matter, and innovative
Mm.
solutions. I'll again say AI is a tool, not a substitute for an intellectual rigor.
Rightly said, sir. Rightly said. Sir, lastly, you have spent a significant part of your academic career researching on IPR law. Uh, do you believe India is adequately preparing itself for legal challenges posed by AI generated content and innovation?
I would say yes. And again, that is where, till the time we do not see a law coming into place, it is the
Hmm.
duty of us. So I'll be very honest, I do have my own AI policy. So
Okay.
I'll be the institutions can have their own AI policy. Till the time, we should not wait that, okay, it's the UGC or the BCI that should come with an AI policy.
Yes.
We should not wait for the state of Jharkhand to enact an AI policy. We should not
Hmm.
wait for the government of India or Ministry of Education to come up with an AI usage of AI law or something like that. Look,
Hmm.
I've always believed whether it was AI or whether it was not AI, uh, as you rightly mentioned, originality. Now, there is something called as a conscious in each one of us. So
Hmm.
today, if I am stealing a loaf of bread from the shop, there is a judge inside me who is telling me
Hmm.
you are going to do a wrong thing. Being a student of law, I guess 90% of the times my own inner conscious lets me know that this is right, this is wrong. And this is no AI to be coming on.
Yeah.
And again, I cannot blame the AI. Why? Because it was me only who was using it, not the AI came and used it, or it was the AI's fault. You saw the
Hmm.
recent cases where the Supreme Court said this was an AI hallucinated case that was presented to the bench as well.
Yes.
And it was the advocate to be blamed for. The advocate can't blame the junior did this. The junior can't blame the AI software did this. No, you did
Hmm.
it. And that is exactly where you did. So AI raises important questions concerning copyright ownership, liability, data protection, deepfakes, algorithmic
Hmm.
accountability, and most importantly, the IPR. Now, we
Hmm.
need proactive legislation, judicial guidance, interdisciplinary research, but at the same time, we should not forget that we should not wait for these things. What is
Yeah.
wrong. Whether it is wrong for Ritu, whether it is wrong for me. The definition of wrong is very universal. And
Hmm.
that exactly is where the technology is there. Unfortunately, there is no regulation on the technology as in for now. And that is exactly how. So, somebody on a very lighter note to end this particular answer, somebody asked me, what is the what do you feel? Because now you're teaching cybers and other things. So what do you feel? And this was at an international symposium. I was one of a panelist, and somebody asked me, what do you feel is the basis, the ground cause or the root cause of the UPI offenses, which is happening nowadays?
Yeah.
I said, I said the smartphone. So why I said the smartphone? Because there was no UPI offenses when we had
Yeah.
the symbol of the phones, or when we
Yes.
did not had the mobile. So then the counter argument, but that was made for the human ease and not for
Yeah.
the thing. I said that's again where these all crimes. Watch Jamtara. I am coming from a state right now where Jamtara is a place, and that's how
Yes.
the human invented it. I would say it was not
And no AI
discovered. It was
invented it.
That's what I'm the point that no AI
Yeah.
invented it. It was the humans. And we, that is where
Yeah.
again, I answer that query that it's not the AI generated. We
Mhm.
cannot blame. And I'll tell you one thing very honest, half of the people who are getting caught for these cyber offenses are not even 12th pass.
Yes.
And that is
True.
exactly where the creativity, it
Hmm.
would take ages for AIs or technologies to
Yeah.
match that creativity. And as
Yeah.
I'll conclude by saying this, that we created AI. AI has never created the humans and
Hmm.
the brain itself. So that is one thing to take it on, that yes, the AI policies or the self-regulation can be the basis till the time we do not have the regulatory body regulation over us.
Hmm. Rightly said, sir. It was so informative. You've been incredibly kind and generous with your time and guidance here today. We really appreciate it. Thank you, and we wish you the very best for your journey, sir.
Thank you so much, Ritu. I'll just wrap up by saying, I guess, my advice to everybody, specifically the young legal minds out here, uh, embrace the interdisciplinary learning, develop the practical skills, that is the new age technology, never
Hmm.
stop reading and researching. And at the end of the day, be ethical, be empathic, and be honest to your own self. Now, combining legal knowledge with technology, with policy, whatever is it, the choice shall be yours, and be ready to take that decision for yourself. So, with that note, I'd like to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Ritu, for being
Thank you, sir.
posing me such wonderful questions, which I never felt that uh, I would be answering it in such an ease and everything. It never felt that we are sitting in an interview. It was just like we were just sitting over a cup of coffee, having an
Yeah.
interactive thing to be taken onto. So thank you so much. And thank you so much for the entire team of the Spark Notes for that particular point for us to
Yes,
make it
sir.
up.
Thank you so much, sir. Hopefully, our viewers must have learned so much today. Thank you so much, sir.